very welcome to this episode of Quality Talk. And today we will be talking about the subject deviations and CAPA. And my name is Peter Svan, and with me I have my colleague Mika Salanoja, who will be doing most of the talking today.
Good morning, you all.
Good morning, Mika. So we'll get started then, and let me then see. Yeah. So the agenda today, it will be this introduction, which I will be giving to you. And after that, we'll get into the main topics of today, deviations, NCRs, complaints, whatever you call them, many different names for more or less the same thing, and how to correct and prevent these nonconformities, in other words, short CAPA. And in the end, we'll try to have some minutes for a summary and a QA. However, if you would like to ask a question during the presentation, you can also use the questions field in this webinar and write your question, and we'll try to address that during at the end of this session. However, we will always come back to you in an email or so if we don't have time to address your question. So off we go, and what we will be talking about, or what we will be using, we will be using an information management platform called Mfiles in this presentation. And as this is an information management platform, it can be configured for a number of different jobs to do. So you have document content, sales contracts, project reporting, and so on. But the list is long. However, today we will be talking only about quality compliance and a special subject in this area. So talking about quality compliance, or QMS, quality management systems, we have, based upon Mfiles, made our own configuration. It's a pre-configured system which is only addressing quality related topics, and we call that Columbus QMS. However, it's based on the platform Mfiles. And what I wanted to show you with this is the different use cases we have pre-configured. So if we start with the three first ones, which we addressed in the previous episode about document and record management, how to control your SOPs and policies, and make sure that these documents are trained to the right people in the organization. That we talked about last time. Today we'll talking about deviations and CAPA, as I said, and other use cases we have here are auditing, risk management, system validation. You can work with process maps in Columbus QMS, and obviously also suppliers are quite important in this equation, and in many cases you need to qualify them and make sure that they stay qualified, to regularly re-qualify them, and we have a pre-built use case for that as well. And if you are working a lot with equipment and you need to maintain your equipment, you can use an equipment database that you can do in Columbus QMS as well. And as it is a platform, via configuration, you can always set up other use cases if you like, or modify the existing ones if you have some special needs about them. This episode is about deviations and CAPA, but it's really a full program of quality talks we are running. And you see the 3 next ones coming up in August, September, and October listed here. And there we will be talking about risk management, auditing, and system validation. So if that is of interest to you, you can put yourself a reminder to register for those sessions as well. So today what we will be talking about is, of course, nonconformities and CAPA, and the main message of this presentation is about these processes. And to start with, obviously you need to have a CAPA process, but you also need to make sure that people are trained on this process, that everybody knows what they need to do when they see something that is not as it should be. And you know that it's very easy to forget about things in spreadsheets and memos and emails, and you may not then remember what was agreed or who should follow up on things, and things are forgotten about, and the same mistakes or errors can occur again and again. And all deviations are obviously not critical, and some of them are much more important than others, and you need to have some kind of system to classify which are the serious ones, so you can focus on them and give them the special treatment they need. And also you need to have set deadlines for your corrective actions, and these you can do in Columbus QMS, and we will show you that in this presentation. So the key question is really what is expected from me as a worker or an employee in a highly qualified business or organization. And if everyone is focusing on their to-do list, it will run very smoothly, and we will show you that in this presentation. So it's, as you know, it's a lot about records and documentations and photos of things that need to be documented, etc. So we'll show you how you can attach these records and documents in a very smooth way, so that you make sure that they will stay together with the registered nonconformity. And last but not least, how you can use smartphones to record deviations on the go. So that is what we will be focusing on in this presentation. And now I will give the word over to Mika to give you the really interesting stuff. So some real examples from your side, Mika.
All right, thank you. So I guess, can you turn me over to be the presenter?
Yep.
And we should now be, please verify we are now at the Columbus QMS home screen. You are seeing something orange.
That's correct.
Yes. So welcome to the session from my part as well. My name is Mika Salonoja. I'm running a live demo today. So as we like to do with sessions like this, I'm not doing any PowerPoint slides or screenshots. We are actually looking at the system live. It's just more convincing and more fun, and also more risky. It's always a chance that something goes wrong when you're running things live, especially in these times of working from home and through home internet connection. Hope everything goes smoothly. So I am at the home screen of Columbus QMS. Those of you who were joining us in the previous session, this looks already familiar. We have the home screen here with, here we have the section for Mfiles views, which is like the Mfiles equivalent to folders, if you will. We have the recent, whatever I've been accessing recently. We have the checkout session here, whatever is now checked out to me, reserved for me and me only for editing. And finally, we have the assignment list, or my personal to-do list. And let's click that one and make it nice and big. And I will start by taking a look at what is on my to-do list right now. Let's walk through what's in here. So there are two documents that I should be working on. One of them is the new updated major version of our CAPA process SOP. So that is waiting the final content from me. There are two audits that I should be working on. There is some unfinished job there. We already have 4 issues recorded, and they are in different states of their workflow. But as you can see, they all are audit findings. They are not non-conformances. But also audit findings are basically issues that you need to process, or audit findings or observations. And the drill down functionality in Mfiles works in such a way that I can drill down from anything and see what is associated with it. This goes with everything in the system. I can see that this audit finding is from this audit or supplier assessment. And I can continue drilling down. I can see that, okay, that was the only finding. There's some documentation. It relates to this supplier company, etc. So all this is something that I should be working on. So let's assume we are updating our CAPA procedure. Actually, the document process is already ongoing, as we can see. The document is here awaiting updates. So let's chime in a little bit from the previous session and start the demo by updating the CAPA process SOP and also making sure that people actually know what the new revision or new major version says. Since if I drill down from this document, I can find a learning rule. The learning rule tells to the Columbus QMS that, hey, this is not just any old document. This is something that people need to learn. It's vital for all. And because everybody in this imaginary company needs to learn the CAPA process, it is checked mandatory for all. We could also select that, hey, this is not required for everybody. It's only for certain people, certain groups, one site, one part of factory, people having certain role in the company. But this is such an umbrella document that everybody needs to either read this document or take a training where this document is trained for them. We might look in more detail into the training capabilities of the Columbus QMS. So what I will do now is I will just check out this document, the soon to become effective version of the Quality Assurance SOP 866. And I'll put some last updates go in. And now we have our fantastic new version of the CAPA process. If I look at the properties, we can see that this document is going to get effective the last day of June, so in a week and a half or so. So in this simplified demo environment, it only takes one signature to actually approve and publish this updated SOP. In other cases, the process might be more rigorous, requiring several people to review and approve the document. And now we get the first electronic signature prompt. Okay, and I will provide my signing password and provide a Part 11 compliant, GXP compliant electronic signature. And now the document should very soon actually vanish from my to-do site. There you go. The CAPA process is gone from my to-do list. It no longer awaits any action from me. Now let's go and look how the document process is going. We now have a new version coming up of this document. It's still being PDF processed. We need to give that a few seconds. Apologies. The PDF processing is a bit slow operation, and I want to wait for the process to actually complete itself. There we go. So now we have a new published version of this document, our new fantastic CAPA process. And as you can see, it is in for learning state as the watermark reveals, meaning this is a future effective version. It says so also on the margin here, effective 2021-06/30. And we have the signature page. So now we have a new version of this document out there. And now I will return to my assignment list. And notice something new appeared on my to-do list. I got a learning assignment. Please learn this control document. So publishing the new version of the CAPA process document triggered also the training module to create training, like document learning assignments to all matching personnel. And if you remember, in this case, the matching personnel is everybody, including me. So if I follow the self-learning mode, I will drill down from this document and find the document that will go effective on the last page, last day of June. Read the document in my own time, and then state that I have read and understood this document. So I will turn this document learning assignment into a document learning record, auditable evidence that I have read the document. Okay. And that also vanishes from my to-do list. Some other items remain there. So far, I have been looking this mainly from my own to-do list point of view. Let's look this more widely from a company point of view. So I will go to a dedicated view called Issue and CAPA. Open by class. So here we have grouped all the different types of issues into virtual subfolders. So let's go to the nonconformance view. It seems the situation is very good, perhaps too good to be true. We have three nonconformances. All of them are in CAPA's process closed state, so things are looking very good indeed. So let's start creating a new one. Short title, webinar demo issue 1. This is a major issue. This is what went wrong. Root cause, lack of training. It may relate to certain equipment, vacuum pump. I might also relate a procedure right away to this issue. Perhaps we need to actually update this work instruction or procedure. This is a Part 11 related issue, and let's create the issue. So here we have ourselves a new recorded issue, fresh in its initial workflow state, waiting to be processed in its workflow. And because of the workflow, this issue will not go away. It's practically impossible to forget the existence of this. The system will remind right people until eventually this is processed. And processing can mean many things. Perhaps this was not alarming at all, but you can't forget about the issue. Now let's record another one, and for that I will now comes the shaky part. I'm trying to record an issue on my Android phone, and which means I'll start the mirroring, trying to show you basically what my phone says. Here we go. So this is my Android phone. We have the normal stuff here: Gmail, WhatsApp, Twitter, and here on this screen we have the Mfiles app. Let's go there, and we are at the home screen. This is a fully fledged app. I can go and look at all the necessary items here. I can go and look at effective documents and everything. I can find my assignment list, and we can find, I can turn this vertical, it's easier to do, and we can see that the CAPA process learning assignment is also here in my admin user account. But what I will do now is I will create an issue using my phone. So I'll hit the create button at the bottom. So you can't really see what I'm hitting, but hitting the create button over there. Hitting the non-conformance, and I'll choose the add file. And as the source of the file, I'll choose the camera. And this is my phone camera. Let's take a picture of my awesome home office hi-fi. Here we go. I actually do have a vacuum tube amp. I'm a bit old school, as you can see. Short title, sound not good. So that is the issue. Severity, it's a minor issue. I might associate it with some other stuff here, but let's make it nice and simple. And I just created this new recorded issue, which is shown also on my recent view. All right, let's close the phone. And here we have, now I'm looking this again from a Windows user point of view. So here is the nonconformance 229. Notice all these nonconformances get a unique identity. This is number 229. It's a minor one. And here we have the webinar demo issue 1, 228, which was a major one. And drilling down from this non-conformance, I can see the picture. So the idea is that on the factory floor, in the lab, while auditing a supplier, on the go, in the warehouse, you can always just take a picture or take a piece of video and create a non-conformance or service request or anything right away, just using your phone. All right. So next in this demo, what if, since this is a major issue, so you may need to do several things to recover from this one. So what I will do is create some corrective actions and also an issue report. So in Mfiles, you can always attach any number, any size, any type of files and documents to basically anything, including this issue here. So I will start by opening just this random Windows folder with some random files. I'll grab a few, say these 2 Excel files, for example, and I'll just drag and drop them on top of the issue. There we go. Let's open Outlook. So here we have the GoToWebinar Global Customer Support. This is an invitation to this webinar. I will drag and drop this email right from Outlook on top of the issue. So now if there's some discussion going on, some messaging, it's a great work practice to just drag and drop them into the vault so that they are stored permanently, because everyone's email box gets chaotic over time, while this doesn't. We might also, instead of just attaching all kinds of files and records, we might also create an actual issue report. So for that, when I just click on the issue, I get this create issue report and some other actions available for me. Set corrective action, set preventive action, create issue report. The same actions are quite conveniently available if I just right-click on the issue, so I can start the same actions from here. All right, so I will create now an issue report. So the system proposes me that the default template for issue report is this template. So I'll double click on the template, and basically only piece of metadata I need to provide is the author of this report. So I will pick myself. I will keep the released as PDF checkbox checked and just create the document. And the Word opens, and we get this the template open, and here is all the details of what just happened. Root cause, well, many CEO is responsible ultimately. And here I have this rather simple document that I can find under the issue. It is also assigned to me. So once again, if I revisit my assignment list, I shall find the issue report there as a to-do list item. So what I will do is check out the document again. And notice the Office plugin doing useful things. We apply a naming convention. We generated a unique document number, and we actually print that onto the document right away. So many things indeed. And while I'm doing authoring work, I will naturally create the full audit trail version history, as Mfiles is one of those full audit trail systems. So if I look at the history, I now have 2 minor versions of this simple issue report document. Okay. And to me, this looks awesome. So I'll say this is content ready. It's ready to be signed. And now I'll just approve this document with a single electronic signature. And once again, you note it vanishes from my to-do list because it no longer awaits any action from me. Let's get back and look at the webinar demo issue 1. And here is now the issue report. It's now the approved version 1 or major version 1. And the document looks like this. We have the actual document, timestamps, document number, major version, approval dates, and we have the system generated signature page at the end. So this is our issue report document and fully locked in place. If needed, I can route this document for updates, in which case it becomes a Word document again. Here we go. And I can check out the document, make one change, and just approve the issue report again. Some updates here. And now let's sign the version 2 of our issue report. And now we are seeing the document 00870 version 2 being PDF processed. So we are soon done with that. While it's PDF processing, let's start putting in some corrective and preventive actions. So let's create a corrective action, short title, CAPA. This is demo corrective 1. Please do, and I'll pick myself as the responsible person, and I'll give myself a week to do this corrective action. Let's create another one. So you can have any number of these corrective or preventive actions. They can be assigned to different people. Some can be really emergency fast. Some can take like very long time to actually complete. Please also fix, and pick myself again as the responsible person. I'll leave the due date empty. So basically this doesn't have a specific deadline, but it stays on my to-do list until eventually fixed. And now I can say that assign corrective actions for completion, meaning we have done all the planning we need. And now the NCR is in assign CAPA for completion state. Wait, meaning now we wait for the resulting corrective actions to be fixed one by one by all the necessary people. So you are probably guessing how this works. There are some new things on my assignment list. In real life, this is really, really handy, I must tell you. The fact that you have a flat to-do list, which contains everything that from a quality and process perspective is expected from you. And as a manager, you can also check everyone else's to-do list. You can rescue assignments by people who just left the company or went onto a long sick leave or maternal leave or something like that. So those either are eventually handled. So now I have these 2 corrective actions on my to-do list. Corrective action 249 and 250. And as usual, I can drill down. I can see that, okay, they correct or prevent this issue. I can find all the documentation. I can find all the attached files. I can find the issue report. With a couple of drill down steps, all the information is available to me. I don't need to, excuse me, I don't need to switch to different folders or run any reports. Everything is available through drill down. So let's correct these. Once again, I'll find some just files as evidence that, yes, I actually did that. So let's grab these 3 Word documents, on top of the corrective action. I can take any files, even huge ones, binary files, photos, videos, signed documents, signed records, emails, email attachments, and just attach them to the corrective action. Then I'll say that this is completed. And I will get an error message. Sorry, action taken actual must not be empty. So there are certain fields that I have to fill before I can get forward in this workflow. So here is what I did, honest, and save my changes. And now comes an electronic signature. Often when we talk about electronic signing, we tend to think signing documents. But in Columbus QMS, you can sign electronically pretty much anything. It can be a task, assignment, or anything of that nature. We might also use digital signing, which is perhaps beyond the scope of this session. But just quickly, electronic and digital signing are two separate things. And digital signing is very much also possible in Columbus QMS, but then we are definitely talking about documents. While electronic signing is built in, it's Part 11 compliant, GDP, GXP, GAMP5 compliant, ISO 1345, QSR 21 CFR 820 compliant, and totally built in. So I will complete this task. And one of the CAPA tasks vanished from my to-do list. The other one remains. Let's hit back arrow and take a manager point of view again. What is going on with this corrective action? Things are looking semi-good. One of the tasks is completed, and the other one is still assigned for completion. So I will return to my assignment list. And let's deal with this corrective action as well. The process is identical. You provide explanation what you did. You attach any number of files, records, memos, evidence that it was actually done. And finally, you provide an electronic signature to notify that the task is actually done. Things are looking good. No corrective actions on my to-do list any longer. Cool. Let's revisit the to-do list once again. And automatically, the issue, webinar demo issue 1 now jumped to CAPA's process closed. So you can only reach this state once each and every corrective or preventive action has been individually completed first. And now this is just a signed record. All the related material, all the things attached to these different items are stored here permanently, etc. And now this will actually, that is something that's hard to demonstrate, but this issue will statically sit here for a year. And then it will one last time assign itself to its initiator or the local quality manager to verify that, yes, it seems this issue has not resurfaced. If there is something wrong, we might actually reopen. So we are actually not happy about this issue after all, in which case I can create yet another corrective action, perhaps one more, provide training for XYZ. Please make sure people get refresher training for da-da-da, and choose myself as the responsible person again. And now when I select this, corrective action, there are different, sorry. So we can also fire different types of actions like schedule training. We can start document change requests based on these corrective actions, etc. And let's assign CAPAs for completion again. So now I have some typical corrective preventive tasks here. Typically, when you have a major issue, you might do some training to avoid mishaps in the future. You might create a change request to update the document, or you might even request a completely new one. So, for example, let's assume because of this mishap, we need to create a new work instruction that is about quality assurance. Proposed new doc title is CAPA Communications. We need this because, and now we basically, from this CAPA process, initiated a document process, but I will not actually go into that direction further. But basically, from this document CR, we might start creating a new work instruction or any such new quality document. Okay, so this is what, from a demo point of view, what I was planning to show. We have some good 15 minutes to go. What is perhaps not obvious here, the amounts of data are so small that it's easy to just use these views, but obviously in real life, the volumes of all kinds of issues, customer complaints, product issues, they are higher. And then we will use actual like business reporting, something like Power BI, Click, even Excel to actually follow trends and everything. But for the actual processing, we don't need any other tools than the Columbus QMS itself. So from my point of view, thanks you for the attention. I wonder if there are any questions from the audience.
We have a question from Helen. I think she has left now, but she asked some 20 minutes ago about the question is only RNA for training, or is there opportunity for assessments like questions to be answered? And I think by RNA, is that read and
understood?
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, both are possible. This is an area where every company has slightly different requirements, absolutely possible. So what we can do is when you claim that you have read the document, we can pop up a questionnaire, like a quiz, multiple choices, and you have to get like 8 out of 10 correct or so before your document self-learning record gets valid. But this is not out of the box in place because it is somewhat rare. We have learned that different companies have really surprisingly different approaches when it comes to qualifying their own training records. It is also quite common that companies don't appreciate self-learning records at all. Instead, you have to take a training, and it's a trainer who basically convinces the system that signs on behalf of everyone else. That is also totally possible in Columbus QMS.
Yeah, thank you. So any more questions from the audience? We have almost 15 minutes for discussions, and we can do some ad hoc demos as well if you like to see something more.
Because if we have extra time, I have some like fun use case I might actually show you, but since it's a bit unusual, I think we should look at the questions first and do the special use case only if there is extra time. Any questions from the audience, please?
I cannot see any questions at this moment, so
perhaps this was then like totally clear and self-evident, which basically it should be. So in that case, with your kind permission, I'll do something a bit unusual. So my next demo case is basically, what if your requirements on an issue or non-conformance handling change over time? We make big fuss about the fact that this is a configurable platform. So I actually want to show you, give you a little taste of just how configurable this is. Nothing is hard-coded. The whole Columbus QMS is just a well thought out of example configuration, really. If your requirements for any quality process or any business process change, you don't need to wait for a new version of Mfiles or new version of Columbus QMS. You don't need to start a massive customization project. We can just reconfigure. If it's a validated system, we may need to do some new test scripts and stuff, but we are not embarking on a big customization project. So now I very rarely dare to do this in these demos, but I'll show you the admin tool. This is something that end users never ever need to see, so don't be alarmed. This looks very busy. This is for the system specialists only. But this is the issue processing workflow that I have been using this demo. We have the waits CAPA, assign CAPAs for completion, and CAPAs processed closed, jumps automatic to assess effectiveness, and a year later, case fully closed. So the change I am going to make now is such that we have a case where the critical issues must be acknowledged by upper management immediately. They are not just assigned for someone to do on their own time. We must raise a big alarm whenever there is a critical issue. So that is the change I'm going to apply to this workflow. So let's do that. I can make a small change to the workflow and we can test it live immediately. So I'm adding a new state called critical issue recorded. And when we get to this, we will make a big assignment to all managers that's saying there has been a critical issue. Please acknowledge. One of the hardest words to write, acknowledge. And we get to this state automatically when anyone records an issue that has severity equals, yeah, I know this looks a bit complicated. Keep in mind, this is something normal users never ever need to see. This is admin stuff. And how you acknowledge is that we actually require some corrective actions and we require an electronic signature. So in Columbus QMS, in Mfiles platform, you can require an electronic signature for any transaction in the system. And these are, as soon as you run some validation tests, these are fully GMP Part 11 compliant. The signature reason is that critical issue acknowledged. I hereby, I will not have time to put in like a proper signature manifestation, but you get the idea. And then we can start working on the corrective actions as soon as it has been acknowledged by upper management. And I'll save my changes, and I can immediately go ahead and test this new approach. So let's create yet another issue. Major product failure. Oops, sorry. Major product. And this indeed is a critical one. Description XYZ. So I fill the form. This relates to a process. This relates to a supplier. It was Columbus who messed something up. So we have a major product failure. And now I will just create the NCR. And notice it now actually went to the new critical issue recorded state. It is assigned to the upper management, which in this case is these 4 individuals. So it is on my assignment list. I'm getting, not sure if I get them already, but I probably got some email notification already, Columbus QMS new assignment. So I've been notified already by the system. So here is now the major product failure. And in order to move it to the state where we can start working on the corrective actions, this now requires an electronic signature. So I will once again provide my signing password. And now under the system, we can find the electronic signature. This is how an actual signature looks like from a system point of view. This is the sort data about one person approving one thing for one purpose. So this was the fun use case I wanted to show. What I did was actually modify the system while you watch, and then try that small change live while you're watching. Of course, in reality, we should work for an hour or 2 to have an actual like a prototype for processing the critical issue differently than all the other types of issues, like communicate within 24 hours to authorities or whatever is the requirement there. But we can meet those special requirements through configuration, not wait for a new software version, not start a software customization project that takes a year, goes over budget, and is a nightmare to validate.
Yeah, I think that was a good example, Mika. It really shows the way we are working with our clients, that we take their input about their processes and we modify, configure Columbus QMS to really reflect what they need to do.
Exactly. All right, well, now we are pretty close to the time. Any last thoughts, questions, comments from the audience, perhaps?
No, I cannot see any further questions. So thank you very much for attending. We will close this call now, and obviously the program goes on. So there will be a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th episode of Quality Talks as well. And I hope to see you all again after the vacation period in August. So stay tuned to Quality Talks. Thank you and goodbye.
And everyone have a great summer.